Red Sox have one more game in the homestand. It's an afternoon tilt against the Athletics as they go for the series win, as it's a Thursday edition of Red Sox Now with me, Mike Antonellis, all presented by Fan Arch here on YouTube. We love the show. We love all of you. Love doing the show. Love the comments. Sorry I didn't get to everybody yesterday. I'm pretty busy with a lot of things and doing TV with the Woo Sox. Have to be there a little bit earlier. I know some of you watched it, so thanks for that. I'll get you updated on Luis Perales, who made his AAA debut and was electric. Electricity running absolutely wild. Good show yesterday. A lot of comments. Keep them coming. I'll reply as much as I can during the day. Make sure to follow me on my personal YouTube and social media at The Radio Mike. Love hearing from you on the other platforms. I talk to people on X, on TikTok. I think some of you on Facebook as well. And if you could hit the subscribe button as we are heading towards 1,900 subscribers, which is fantastic. Really appreciate all of that. I'll get to Luis Perales right now before we get into the Red Sox. He threw 11 pitches last night, 9 cutters, 2 changeups, struck out all 3, and it looked like a rehab outing. It really did. This kid is special. It just looked different. And Jay Burnham, who I was working with, Jay's been in baseball forever, like I have. You don't see many guys impact like that. He's coming off Tommy John. He's another pitching prospect that you should be excited about. He comes off, he's been throwing in Fort Myers. He comes off the injured list. He throws 1 game in Portland, scoreless, hitless, a walk, comes up to AAA and just strikes out all 3 guys. Pretty amazing. Tyler Uberstein looked really good last night, really aggressive with his fastball. Threw his fastball a lot, which, nowadays we don't see. But looked really good. And the Woo Sox won, by the way, and they're just rounding out the year. One little note, Justinson Garcia got hurt, left the game after the 4th inning, and we're not sure, about where that's going to happen. And for a lot of you are calling for Christian Campbell, that is not happening. Christian is not ready to go back to the big leagues. And I've talked to many people. I've talked to many scouts. I've talked to coaches on other teams. A lot of you just think like, oh, just next man up. No, that's not how the big leagues works. You're not going to hope and see if he can figure it out up there. No, you want guys that have been there right now. And just throwing that out there, it doesn't make any sense, and it's not happening. So I get a lot of people saying that this should happen, that they should get rid of Yoshida and put Campbell. That is absolutely crazy right now. You're trying to win. He does not give you the best possible chance to win because he can't play a position. And you're not going to have him go up there and DH. It's not. Just close the book on that. And our manager, Chad Tracy, was really outgoing about that he should be a utility guy. First base is not happening. That didn't work. Outfield is kind of what they're doing. But that's the updates from Worcester. I'll have more tonight. I'll be there tonight. But let's get to the game. Great game. They found a way. Was not pretty. They had a lead. They let it go. Listen, the A's don't care about you. It doesn't. A lot of guys, again, I bring this up a lot about record. Do you think Jacob Wilson or Nick Kurtz, they're out, in Langoliers and all these guys, they're out there trying to perform too. Like, these guys have incentives. Baseball is a business too. And I'm not saying that they're just playing for that, but like in the big leagues, guys are not mailing it in. And the A's are playing those games. Mark Kotsay is a great leader. They're managing those games. They're playing those games just like they're in the playoffs. They're doing everything they can to beat your brains in. But right now, at times, it's a better lineup than yours and most teams. And they're going to come at you. I mean, I kind of admire how the A's have played. Their pitching has been suspect. But there's no letting up with these teams that are under 500, especially against the Red Sox. That you got to think of like fan bases outside of New England and franchises. They don't want the Yankees or Red Sox winning, so they'll do whatever they can. Giolito was not good. Command issues. It's the end of the year, it's a lot of innings, but it's not like Giolito is. He's had a good year, but he's not Crochet or Bayo. He's a number 3 for a reason. Justin Wilson came in, and I know he allowed 3 inherited runners, but, I mean, kudos to the bullpen. This was an extra inning game. You had to use a ton of guys, and some guys stepped up in a big way. I mean, you had Kelly and Murphy pitching with guys on base to close out that game. I thought they showed a lot. Cora kind of managed this a little bit backwards, and we'll get into that. Pulling out all the stops early. But the bullpen was able to find a way. I thought the Athletics bullpen was pretty good. They had to go 5 1/3. They gave up 1 earned run. Still a lot of guys on base. Both teams. Red Sox had 17 at-bats with a runner in scoring position. 3 for 17. Which I've talked about before. Runners at bats in scoring position are not all created equal. So they had 14. Now, I didn't see I watched most of the game, but if you're 3 for 17 with runners in scoring position, but 5 of those at bats, you move the runners over that allowed you to score runs, I don't take that as an offer. Right? They're not all created equal. If you're 1 for 10 with 9 strikeouts, that's bad. If you're 1 for 10 and 4 times you move the runner over, I look at that as 5 for 10. If that runner ends up scoring, that means you put the ball in play. So when we just look at the box, 3 for 17, they were terrible. Possibly, but I'd have to go look at how many times that outs were made to move runners over to score runs. That's huge. You can't get a hit every time with a runner in scoring position. And honestly, I don't care if you score a lot of runs. If you leave a lot of guys on base and you're scoring 5 to 6 runs a game, who cares? I'm not going to get hung up on all those things. But 10 hits. Duran had a good game. Story continues. Got thrown out for the first time. Yoshida had 2 hits. Knocked in 2 runs. I've told you, don't give up on him. He's still a guy that's been established more and puts the ball in play a lot more than a lot of guys. And in less than 10 strikeouts. You got Romy Gonzalez has had a tough 2 games. It happens. For his last 10. Rafaela, I will say this. You just see why he plays. I know he 1 hit last night. He's got a hit in back-to-back games, but 2 straight nights. He has made 2 unbelievable plays in center field that no one else on that team's making. And when you're offensively challenged, you can't weaken your defense. It's just, a joy, an absolute joy to watch in center. Rob Refsnyder hit his 9th home run. If Refsnyder and Gonzalez have double-digit home run years off the bench, that's impressive. But the way that they played that game late was pretty remarkable, I thought. I thought Cora managed this game with a huge sense of urgency. And the guys on the radio were talking about it. Will Fleming said there's no manager I'd want more in those situations than Alex Cora. And I agree. I know a lot of you, don't like Cora. I hear this and I don't know the plan. Who would you bring in then? He's a good fit here. The players love him. That is a huge thing that we overlook. There's a stable clubhouse. There's no crap coming out of that clubhouse like there was, and we have had that in the past with managers being too lenient or maybe being too the other way. But he's not afraid, and that's one thing that I admire about him. And he was not afraid last night. They put on a sacrifice with Narvaez. Think about that. He bunts a pitch that's, top of the zone. And the fact that he hit for Rafaela. They were lucky that, that they had Nate Eaton, too, starting at second base. But, I'm telling you, some managers would not have done that with Rafaela. Rafaela's one of your guys. And you hit a young player, Nick Sogard, ahead of him. That was all hands on deck. That listen, we have reservations about him, Rafaela, with a guy at third base trying to make contact. And that is a move with a lot of stones. And some of you might be saying, really, is that a big? Yes. There are managers that will not do things like that. You're taking out one of your guys, even in a spot like that last night, even though you were desperate for a win. There's a thing in baseball, sticking with your older guys sometimes. But I thought that's managing it like a playoff game, like an elimination game. And look what happened. A weak ground ball with speed at third. This is why certain guys are in the big leagues over other guys. Right? If Nate Eaton's not in the big leagues, if you want a Christian Campbell in the big leagues, maybe it's Nate Eaton's spot. Is Christian as fast as? No. And that was huge too. You don't score that winning run with someone else at third base. You had the contact play on because of Eaton and a ground ball with the infield in. Still, it was close, but not really. But that's a ballsy move. And he put all of his relievers in a little bit earlier last night. Wilson, Slayton, Matz, Whitlock, Chapman, and then you were hoping to win the game in the ninth, which you didn't. You had to rely on Kelly and Murphy. He brought Murphy in. Murphy get that final out on a strikeout. And that was good stuff. That was some big-time moves. Were you all surprised that they hit Nick Sogard? I love it. I love it. And that was big. That was a big move last night to get that win, and kudos to Nick Sogard for putting the ball in play. And Chris Murphy with the third win. Really remarkable if you look at, that bullpen last night with Wilson, who you added, Matz, Zach Kelly, who, at times the stuff is off the charts, and Chris Murphy, who was hurt most of the year. Too bad, though, that Trevor Story got caught for the first time. Good tag, too, at second base. Hey, not too long ago, we were freaked out about the Rangers. That certainly has passed. They lost again. There's 10 games left. They have 9. They are 79 and 74. If they won out and went 88 and 74, the Red Sox would have to go 5-5 for them to catch them. I don't think that's going to happen. Cleveland won again. They beat Detroit. How about that? They're 4.5 behind the Tigers, but that's not happening. But they're knocking on the door. They are still 2.5 behind Seattle and Boston. Now, let's see. Cleveland versus Seattle, they lost the season series. So this is interesting. They lost the season series to Boston and Seattle. So they can't tie the Mariners or the Red Sox. So I look at it as 3.5 because they have to finish one game ahead. So that win, like I said, every win, now that the games are dwindling down, makes things a little bit easier for you for postseason. 3.5 with 10 to go is still a lot for a team to make up. When you just win, you just keep eliminating that magic number, which I'm not going to talk about right now. And they were staring down the barrel last night of a loss and they found a way. And now you got to do it again today with Bayo and JT Ginn. That's a 135 game. Bayo, I think, has been really good in these spots. Don't want to finish a homestand 2-4. If they were to lose, it wouldn't be the end-all. But wouldn't you feel a lot better with a Red Sox win and a Cleveland loss tonight? God, we're talking about the Guardians. If you could go into the final 9 games, 3.5 to 4.5 game lead, you're sitting pretty good. Cleveland also plays a day game, and Tarek Skubal is pitching against Aaron Bybee. But, this is a good lesson. Again, I've talked about this game where we overdo the schedule part. Oh, they shouldn't lose to these teams. Seattle lost to Kansas City last night. Detroit has lost 2 in a row to Cleveland. You look around. Texas is, and they're playing Houston's a good team. But to try to figure this thing out sometimes with schedules. Like this team should be, it doesn't work that way. Be nice if it did. The Mets and their fan base, they have to be going crazy. The Mets are still in a funk. They lost again last night. They've lost 8 of 10. Arizona lost. Cincy and San Francisco won. They are still hanging in there. Cubs clinched a playoff spot. Arizona's a game and a half out. Cincy and San Francisco are 2 back. Mets are home again today. Cincy plays Chicago. The Giants play at the Dodgers. And then a little peek at tomorrow. Arizona is home against Philly. San Fran continues their series at the Dodgers. And the Mets play the Nationals. So the Mets are at home. Now, they should win these games coming up. Should. But the Nationals are going to throw in everything they can. So this will be a really interesting weekend to see how things play out. But first things first for a lot of teams, including the Red Sox, is to come up. They need a W today. But I liked how last night went. I really did. I liked those moves. I was texting with some people. We were really surprised, at some of those moves, especially, hitting for Rafaela. Good stuff. All right, let's get to your comments from the Wednesday show, which was great. At Croc317, just for the sake of some players' mental well-being, I'm hoping for a few more hits on Wednesday. You got it. Looks like Early solves at least one of our pitching issues. He does, but I don't. You won't. That's the only issue you have. The number 5 spot means nothing right now. Harrison will start Saturday. He'll be the 15th different pitcher, but you're not really worried about that. The days off have aligned you, and then at some point it's going to get to the point where if you're 4 or 5 up with 4 to go, you'll change your rotation. So you've got Early and Harrison in the rotation. Isn't that crazy? At Bapsos23, everyone keeps saying Bregman is a lock to opt out. If he continues to suck and the Sox miss the playoffs, I'm not sure he doesn't try to run it back one more time for $40 million. Last night felt like an early season loss. It's maddening. The offense can do absolutely nothing, and they lose by 1 so many times. They're close to being such a good team. Yeah, but I mean, you don't have a lot of guys. I mean, so I thought the effort with this lineup you have at times, you got 10 hits last night, but you can't discount that. So I'm still to the point of their bullpen ERA is the best in baseball. You wouldn't be in this spot without your pitching. So yeah, the offense has been challenged, but it gives you a lot of you want it to be reversed. You want that bigger lineup, but I'm telling you, you could take that all day, have the better lineup and weaker pitching, and you'd be going home by now. You'd be 8 or 10 games out. I don't agree with Bregman at all because Boris doesn't care about that in the position. It's third base. What would you do if you don't have him? What are your options? He's defensively the top in baseball at third. He's a Gold Glover. You need, they have just as much leverage. Everything he's added to the team. But no, not with Boris. There are teams that need that position. All right, we're still going to some of the comments here. I like this one at Donaway. Too bad we can't make Rafael a designated fielder. I know. And hopefully, I think he gets better. To me, it's just the approach. At Ivan's Junk, not a hot take, but I believe will not make the postseason. It is a hot take. What is your reasoning behind that? Just a hot take. All right, that will do it for the show on Thursday. I'll be with the Woo Sox tonight. watching some of the prospects. Shane Drowan, by the way, has looked excellent. There's still some more arms down there. Drowan, Uberstein, of course, Perales. Brian Mata has turned a corner. Nick Birdie has still been a little off as well. It's been a tough year for him, but I'll keep you posted on the Friday show. Red Sox, hopefully we're talking about a win on Friday morning. If they win it, they'll have 2 of 3, and they'll be inching closer to clinching a playoff spot. Thanks for watching Red Sox Now. It's presented by FanArch. Hit the subscribe button on the way out. Happy Thursday, and go Sox.